Now, I hope you have all been able to work through your online learning packages for the first few modules. And now in this last one, I really want to briefly take you through specific features which we can look at as distinctive features of Australian social policy. So briefly speaking, Australian social policy displays several distinctive characteristics when it is compared to other welfare states and states from other developed nations. So when we speak about social policy in Australia, mainly we are thinking of specific sectors like healthcare, family, child welfare, immigration, education, housing, employment, income support, and those areas like that. So these are the ones which are mostly regarded as social policy sectors. Not so much really the ones in red, things like income tax, transport, environmental change. Although we understand that these still have effects on human life and quality of life, probably they don't come very much in our language when we are discussing social policy. And again, this is just a consideration for you to be critical about, to consider whether there could be other areas or other dimensions which you can add on this when discussing Australian social policy. Is there any other sector you would like to consider to be part of social policy in the Australian context? So specific features of Australian social policy include, the fact that it is mostly means tested, non-contributory welfare. So this approach is just designed to deliver limited public resources to those deemed most in need, rather than providing universal benefits. You'll see, for example, that in Australia, if you don't have a job and you are under the job seeker benefit, you might be getting that until maybe you get a part-time job. Then, depending on what you are paid on your part-time job, there might be a decrease in, your job seeker benefits. And if you end up getting a permanent job, then definitely you will definitely lose your job seeker benefits. So just really to give you an idea on how social welfare and social policies operate in Australia, and how that is quite different from other nations where such benefits might be following a more universalistic logic, and other countries where those kinds of benefits simply do not exist. So the second characteristic is that we rely very much on mixed economy involving a wide range of actors: government, non-government actors, the market, as we started saying. And this again varies from other countries like Canada, where the delivery of public services is more public-led, or the US, where such services are mostly dominated by the market. So another characteristic, and again, this might be a little bit different from other nations, is that in Australia, there is relatively low expenditure on public services, but high level of redistribution. And that in itself, made some scholars trying to theorize Australia as being a wage earners welfare state, that we rely very much not on government distributing directly money to people, but making the conditions for everyone to get access to a job. And then through that job, they pay tax, and then the tax can be redistributed to the one who needs it the most. And that's, again, quite different from Nordic countries, for example, where there might be high expenditure and generous support compared to Australia. So So we also have a strong focus on employment-linked support, job seeker, related policies, cashless debit cards, and mutual obligations. All these are key considerations that, for example, if you are again seeking a job and you don't have one, and you are on a job seeker benefit, you still have to demonstrate that you are making yourself job ready to be able to keep benefiting from the government support. But also another characteristic of Australian social policy is its colonial legacy. The way the Australian government operates today and all the policies in place are deep-rooted in Australia's colonial history, and this has to be acknowledged into how contemporary social policies and historical ones keep on affecting Indigenous Australians. And again, this is another feature which might compare with other nations like Canada, which also shares some colonial legacies, but also different from Nordic countries which were never colonized. So at this point, I would like now to invite you to reflect on a few other features of Australian social policy. Anything else you have identified in your readings and which you would like to share with everyone? And how do these features compare with other countries, other welfare states around the world? Thank you very much.